Hello and welcome back to Leuven. This is EUF's presentation of the Elite Invite from Belgium. This is, I believe, the first time that we are broadcasting with remote commentators from the AI streams. So thank you for everybody who is tuning into these two teams. This is the third iteration of EUF's Elite Invite, and we have a match today of Manchots from Le Mans, France, and Reading from Reading, England. Both of these teams have played a game before this round. This is the second one. Le Mans losing to the compatriots of Reading, Leamington Lemmings, by 2, 11-13, and Reading coming out on top in a rather close contest against Nulacht from Germany. So we will be getting underway in just a minute. There's a slight delay because of the open game finishing just before us. These two teams are setting up on their lines. Just for a little information about their goals for these, Le Mans, Manchots coming in as the dead last seed at EUCF last year. They managed to surprise everybody. They upset Disconnection in their quarterfinal and made it to the semis. Reading, perennial contenders, beating Manchots in the third place game for the bronze medal last year. So this will be an interesting matchup to see how these teams have changed over this past year. Both of them having roster adjustments. Reading is coming into this game with some shortened with a shortened roster. Some of their players who will be joining them later in the season are not here yet. So a couple are arriving to Leuven tonight, and a couple of others are simply just not going to be here this weekend. As we see Le Mans pulling and centering up to Hogan. So Reading working through their vertical stack. They use this with great efficiency against Nulacht as well. They have big, strong cutters that they're going to look to isolate in the lanes and some throwers who can put them there. Low catch, but that one is corralled, and a big shot goes up on the sideline. Le Mans almost gets a scrape of it, but that is a goal for Reading, 1-0. And a very good put from the female matching player to her compatriot. Le Mans in the last game struggled. Manchots, they struggled in the last game against Leamington Lemmings. There were a lot of long points, a lot of turnovers, and they had some difficulty converting the breaks that they wanted. They would often get a turn, but were unable to convert against the Leamington O-line. We'll see what type of D Reading is going to put up here. They changed it up a little bit against Nulacht. There was a mix of zone and match defense. In general, I think that they're going to probably look an out-athletic Le Mans. They have a slight advantage, especially on the male matching side. And they also have some excellent throwers on their D-line. Big blading pull. That one is going to go out the back of the end zone. Not touched by Le Mans, though, so he'll bring it to the front. Oh, no, I'm mistaken. It was brought to the back corner. Manchots are pinned on that back sideline. That's Petit Bon. And the huck goes up, but that's a D from Reading. That is where they're really advantaged. The Reading D-line has an unfortunate drop from Reading, and Manchots trying to get something going. Also picking up and trying to move it fast. Manchots just struggling around, not struggling, trying to find some easy shots, and that is a good looping forehand for the goal. Get my rosters up. That is Erwan Hill with the first goal for Manchots. One turnover, but a quick turn back in Manchots' direction, looking like they're able to stabilize their offensive possession pretty quickly. Let's see what they're cooking up on defense. In the Leamington game, I believe that they were playing mostly match defense. We'll see if they have another trick in the bag against Reading, and if there's anything that they can do to shut down some of those big physical cutters in the lane. So going back to previous results, Reading coming out on top against Manchots last year in that bronze medal game. Manchots, of course, a surprise, but also a surprise at French Nationals last year. They came in from second division as one of the 3 teams that came up, and they actually cruised all the way to the final. They had some very difficult games, but they managed to make it all the way to the final in a very surprise effort, where they lost to Seski-Distus, who are also at this tournament. Reading centering the pole again in that first stack, and there's an immediate pick and a drop. That should be a turn. And a short field for Manchots. You can see the sideline getting hyped up. Pot with the disc. Unable to find it. Finds a little quick strike cut. Gonna look to try and get it off that sideline. Pot losing meters but gaining possession, and he fires a flick down the sideline. That one is just too far for his receiver. Manchots are going to have to treasure the possessions that they can get like that. It's not often that Reading is going to give you a gift right on their end zone line. Deep vert stack from Reading. You can see Kemp at the back. She's been grinding out meters all day, doing an excellent job of it. Little set play to the front to get it off the sideline. Looks like Le Mans are forcing backhand. That's a big throw. And the Reading receiver, looks like Marcus Kelsey comes down with the Norwegian. Number of younger players coming up through the ranks on Reading. Kelsey is one of them. He's only 17 years of age, and he's looking like he really deserves his spot on this team. So we see, if you didn't get a chance to watch the Fota Moon game just before this one, I recommend you go back after this one is finished, or after all of our coverage is finished today. It was another amazing finish. I won't spoil anything for reviewers who haven't seen it, but it was exactly everything that we've come to expect from those two facing off against each other this season. So this is some Pool B action. Leamington Lemmings, of course, in this pool, and Nulak are the other 2 teams. We have 2 for the format. We have 2 pools of 4, making for 8 totally in each category, and everyone will pass through into quarters, where the seedings will cross in those parts. The other pool is Seski-Distus, Tartu Turbulence, Disconnection, and Deep Space, the reigning champs. So we see Le Mans working it down the sideline with a big looping forehand. Gaetan tried to put that one up, Gaetan Le Pézenac. But it looked like, I believe that's Petit Bon on the other end. Wasn't able to get to catch that under the pressure from Reading. Reading setting up in a 6-1 vert stack. This is a little bit more common. I feel like in mixed, we've been seeing some teams running this, trying to run some 90s style reset. We see a big huck going up. Looks like the receiver was just forgotten back there. Kemp with the disc, Graham Kemp with the disc on the sideline, looking to find the reset. Plenty of space. And Andrew Lewis, you know that he's going to do something with it. He takes a big, wide swing. That's a turn. Not something that we're normally used to seeing from Lewis. Lewis is now defending the gender mismatch downfield. wonder if Reading is going to be able to, if Le Mans are going to be able to find that mismatch and exploit it on this point. Petit Bon with the disc, back into the center. Pouzet sends it over to Pelletier on the sideline, who gets it up to Le Pézinec. Just looking to dump swing it around. And I believe that's Erwan Hill. Throwing it back to Pelletier. Pelletier dinking and dunking with Petit Bon. And the Reading defense is starting to set in a little bit. If not for that poach, it looked like they were in some hot water. And a forced inside leads to another turnover for Le Mans. Reading looking to set up in that long vert stack again. Can see some movement at the back of the stack already. A long gainer comes under. Going to chain together some cuts. And the disc almost stranded without a reset, but Lewis gets it, and he rips a forehand deep. But that is some good defense from Le Mans. Ooh, and despite a great effort from the Reading receiver, that is going to be a turnover. Le Mans back on offense once again. It looks like a three-handler vert stack. Something that we haven't seen in a while, but there's plenty of space for Le Mans to come in. Cutter almost messes up the space for the handler, but the receiver holds on to it. Once again, Le Mans pinned on the sideline. Petit Bon manages to toe that one in. She rips a backhand deep. And good pressure from the Reading defense. Pouzet did not look like he had the best angle on that, and I think that Petit Bon, if she'd put some more outside in on it, that would have been a good goal for Le Mans. Le Mans running to the disc to try and get a timeout or get the stall count started. It's Erwan Hill on the mark. Lewis picking up. An excellent break around in that 6-1. It's Korea. Another one of those young Reading products who has come up through the ranks. He started playing open with them last year and has just made it onto their first mixed team this year. Some excellent backhand breaks from Reading. Hagen down up the field. And it looks like a cross-field forehand for another break. I believe that's Lewis on the reception. That'll be 3-1 for Reading. So after some long points, we're probably going to see a change in personnel on the Manchots offensive line. Looks like they're deciding whether they're going to put in a mix of their D-line and their O-line, or if the D-line is going to go out by themselves. So yeah, Manchots having some roster changes from last year. They lost several of their important players, you could say. Ulysse Rouillard, a player who started in Le Mans, I believe, and made the move this year to decide to play with Isno Good from Noisy-le-Sec. He's been living in the Paris area and training with the Isno for the past year or so, but he decided to make the change official. In addition, they lost Enzo Forget, who is electing to play with Chak, and a few of their women, like Chloé Olivier and Swan Lacoste, who have decided to move to Yaka. So a little bit of a renewal within their ranks. They still have several of the strong players and core that took them to the semifinal last year, but we'll see how they're able to manage at this tournament without some of that star power. Petit Bon with the disc in the center. There's a spread offense. There's a lot of space in front of the disc. Good upline. It looks like the women are controlling a lot of the flow on this point. That's what Leuven would like to do. They have some excellent female matching players who they run through. Erwan Hill trying to get the give and go with Petit Bon, but is refused. Now they're on the end zone line. It looks like they're in that three handler set again, three across. Petit Bon gets the disc, moves it again to Hill. A little flip up. It looks like he's trying to get the disc moving no matter what the cost, whether they lose yards or not. A big swing around to Petit Bon. And a very tight throw from Gavier to finish off the point. It's a good possession from Leuven. 3-2. Reading still in the driver's seat, but up 2 breaks. So in corresponding with Reading, they are aware of their sort of shortened roster, and they're trying to use this tournament to integrate some of the new pieces that they have on their team. In addition to that, they're trying to gel and build their offensive structures together. So not necessarily gunning for a win, but obviously they can never be underestimated, even when they're somewhat shorthanded. They are an excellent team and one of the perennial contenders for the mixed championship in EUCF. Manchots looking to do some damage and show that they're still here. Prot with the pole. Leuven going with force forehand. Reading are managing to use that break side quite effectively. We see the lefty. Marius Hutchinson just throwing around over to Colicchio. Colicchio is apparently one of the most important players on their offensive line, and there's a little flip to Connor Hogan. But it looks like I'm sorry, that's not Connor Hogan, that is Andy Lewis. Looks like there was a call, probably a travel on the Colicchio high release, and looks like Leuven are coming in for a little bit of translation. Gavier helping out her teammate Baptiste Guillon. Colicchio probably saying that he didn't change direction or that he didn't lift up his foot before the release. Ophélie Gavier trying to help her teammate figure out the situation. So it looks like, despite some comments and some back and forth, a travel is still maintained by Baptiste Guillon. He will tap it in likely on, looks like 2. Colicchio still with the disc right on the end zone line. The American swinging back to center, and a tight, low forehand from Reading. Marius Hutchinson to Colicchio. Colicchio not happy about that call and making himself known with an emphatic spike. So for some results from around the mixed division, we have in the previous round Seski Distus, Seski managed to take down Disconnection. A little bit surprising from my side. I thought that Disconnection roster was solid. They've been at the top of the mixed division for the past couple of years in Europe. But Seski winning 15-11, and in that same pool, Deep Space narrowly taking down Tartu Turbulence, the Estonians. So Deep Space are a little bit short-handed as well. Not all of their strongest women are playing. They're still out for injury. Reading currently 4-2 in control of this game as they come down on defense. Neumont centering up out of a horizontal. Looks like they're trying to run a dominator through the handler set. Back to the center. A lot of give and goes with Elwan Hill. And that is a narrow passage. Hill again with a very low throw to his receiver. Receiver trapped on the sideline. That Oyo, or that outside into space. Hill manages to pick it off. A little backhand flip. Gavier with the disc. Over to the center and back to the sideline. Manchots managed to stabilize their O-line, and that is another clean hold from them. It's 4-3 for Reading. Reading trying to get some energy there with a little shooter. So far, not a lot of defensive variation from either team. It seems like they've been going with strict forces, either forced backhand or forehand. Think about this middle point of the game where we're reaching the middle game. We need to... It's nice to vary things, especially defensively. If your offense is running comfortably, then there's obviously no reason to change, but defensively, it's always good to try out some different defenses, see if you can throw a wrench into the works. It's a good pull going up right there. Hutchison centers up. And another force forehand from Leuven. Not very much variation once again. And Hutchison throws a nice looping forehand. Colicchio rises above the pack, and that's another goal for Reading. Points out all of the defenders that there were, all two of them, and does his best impression of a seagull or an eagle, but some sort of bird. Once again, I think it would be great if Leuven tried a little bit of a different defense. Maybe we can get Regis Bonetta on the stream. See if he'll listen to me. Or Hélène Courdoisy. Hélène Courdoisy is the president of the club in Leuven and also the defensive coach and captain, number 18. We'll see her making some important decisions and adjustments on the line. Here you see Rémi Dauvois, another captain on the D-line in the white shirt. He is out for an ankle injury that he sustained at French Nationals a few weeks ago. But it is Reading who have the ball right now. They are going to put up a pretty good pull. A little further than the brick mark, centered back. Another horizontal offense. Nice layout by Petit Bones to save the possession, and she puts up a big flick that is drifting just out of bounds, and Gaëtan Le Pézenec cannot get that. So Reading with another break chance to increase their lead to 3. Once again, the Reading O-line seems to prefer the vertical stack with 2 handlers back and 5 in the stack. The D-line seems to like the 90s 6-1 offense. Somebody on the sideline saying that the receiver's really deep, and an immediate huck is put up. What a grab from Reading! That was not an easy collection from the Reading receiver. He had to work around the defense from Manchots, and woo! What an excellent grab for Reading for a one-throw break. 6-3 Reading. And Le Mans, whether they're starting on offense or starting on defense, they need to find something to change up a little bit. Right now, they are struggling. When their offense is going well, everything is okay, but as soon as they have as soon as they give the disc to Reading, they are just ruthless with the disc. And the camera's going to show us a nice view of some games in the background. What we have going on right now. We've got Deep Space up 5-4 on disconnection. Seski down 6-7 against Tartu. And Leamington up 5-3 on Newlocked Ultimate. I'll throw it over to the sideline. This is where they've had some problems. But they have a good isolation cut coming from the handler set. Good toe tap to maintain possession. Pelletier pinned on the sideline though. He throws a nice around. Scavillier, the Swiss player. We've got Oncelan, and the throw goes up to Erwan Hill once again. 6-4. Reading are able to get Manchots in an excellent position defensively, where they are pinned on that sideline, and they have a lot of trouble moving the disc to the opposite side of the field. But Manchots keep on finding very small gaps to put it through, and they are able to hold on their offense with no turns. Also with a good pull. That's Hutchison with the disc right there. Once again, the centering handler will often clear into the break space. In this case, it's Hogan. That's an overthrow on the swing. Not putting enough touch on it for Teresa Bignall, and Manchots will have to be surgical with this if they want to get one of their breaks back. Bonita with the disc. There's a centering pass off the poach. Also try to get a give and go through Prot. Prot with a little pop pass. Menard center, drops it back, and now Prot has it again. He attempts to give and go, gives and gets. And a little flip coming. No, he fakes it around. This trap mark on the sideline has been where Manchots have had problems. Regis Bonita losing yards. Reading are doing an excellent job of forcing Manchots back. Just conservative defense. And some very good pressure on the handlers. Managed to find something around. And that is exactly what Reading have wanted. They have tried to force those all day. Nothing. They're all playing very good team defense. They're locked in with each other. Hogan to pick up. He's been throwing some excellent hucks, and he throws one right here. That one is probably going to go too far, and it looks like I am mistaken. Reading goes up 7-4. And just like in the previous game against Nulacht, that connection between Hogan and Wilson is lethal. It is something that is going to have to be stopped. And we'll see if Moncho can find a solution. Looks like a timeout is going to be taken. I'm going to take a quick timeout myself, and I will see you back in a minute. Right, and we're back here coming out of the timeout. I believe that Moncho called it, looking to stabilize their O-line. They really don't want to be doubled up going into half. Trying to get that short game going. It's a nice dominator, nice throw around from Petit Bon. Little flip back is refused. Centers back to Petit Bon, and it looks like a pick was called on that attempt at a reset. I want to say that is Emmanuel Pouzet, who was called for the pick. But the disc is on the far sideline. Petit Bon has to give it back. Violation called. There's stoppage. Petit Bon repositioning for where she was before the pick was called. And it's reset to her anyway. Moncho trying to get some short field. Very small window. These Reading defenders are really on the hip for every cut. And once again, that no-around defense through Bizanek manages to get an out. Moncho try to swing it. Up to Pouzet. Pouzet throwing it to the front of the stack. Moncho are keeping the disc alive, but really just in drips and drabs. Hill throws up to Petit Bon. Petit Bon puts a very nice disc into a very small window. That's a hold for Moncho, an important one. Really don't want to go into half doubled up. So 7-5 for Reading. So for some more action around the division, we have Tartu taking half, 8-7 on Zeski. Deep Space widening their lead against Disconnection. They're up 7-5 now. And Leamington Lemmings keeping it close 6-5 over Nulaks for the moment. Malchots are hopefully going to cook up something a little bit different than just a straight force. Reading coming down again in that vert stack. Malchots just go with a force backhand, it looks, and an ankle breaker of a cut from Hutchison. Marius Hutchinson just putting Bonita on the ground. Oh no, that was not Hutchison, I believe it was maybe Wilson. Little flip up from Reading, and that is an easy score. That's 8-5 for the half from Reading. Big spike. All right, so Reading take the half. They're going to take a short break at the Elite Invite in Leuven, and I will rejoin you in a minute. Welcome back to second half action. We've got Reading versus Manchots. The first half, Reading looked like they were in control, just out athleticing Manchots for the most part, being ruthless with the disc. They had some very excellent grabs in the air. And Manchots displaying a little bit of frustration amongst each other. Their offense had quite a bit of trouble getting off the sideline. It looked like Reading was really just trying to force one direction, especially that forehand side, push them onto the sideline and force them to go backwards and backwards and backwards, and that worked quite well. Reading with a huge pull right in the middle of the attacking end zone. It's Hill. Hill once again with his give-and-go move. Tries to find another connection with Petit Bon. Ida Petit Bon with a nice high release around. Gets a reset, but Manchots are still trapped in the back of their end zone. Now they're coming a little bit closer to the front line. Some of that fast movement is starting to pay off, but the Reading defenders are very close. Those windows are not always open. Petit Bon always managing to get open herself, though. Throws it right down the line. Here we have Pelletier again with the disc. Pelletier has been in this situation before, and he's always managed to find an out. Connor Hogan on the mark. The Irishman playing for Reading for the past few years. Trying to hammer it down the line. Manchots getting it over to Olivier. Gavillier. Gavillier with a little high release, but Hill is not able to dig that one out of the grass. Or Couder, Onslin, Couder. Reading throwing it right into the defense of Petit Bon. He looked to fast break it. And a somewhat baffling decision. Onslin Couder decides to call a timeout on the first point of the half. It's not a decision that I would be happy with if I were a coach, but I'm not coaching. Right, looks like the teams are going to get together and talk for a minute. We're going to take a break here, and we'll be right back with more commentary from Leuven. Welcome back. Coming out of the timeout, Manchots have taken a timeout after a couple of sloppy possessions from them and Reading. Coming out in a vertical stack, 4 people downfield with 3 handlers back. It's not often that we see this setup anymore. It's a little bit outdated. Lots of teams have realized that poach on the break side makes it very difficult to find space. And Manchots trying to hit the front of the stack, throw an immediate turnover. Reading, again with their 6-1. Very wide swing. We'll see if the receiver can get there, and she does very comfortably. It's a good break from Reading. And an amazing tee. What a tee from Quentin Pelletier. Manchots managed to fast break it, and that looks like a fast break. And a bookends for the young Quentin Pelletier. There's a lot of young talent on this Manchots team. Quite a few of them coming out of the juniors programs that won Europeans in women's and got second in men's last year, and managed to make it to the finals in both divisions. So there are some rising stars on this team. Despite Le Mans is a rather small city in the southwest of Paris. And despite the size, they've managed to put together a very good program here through good development and good use of their juniors players. They're nowhere near the size of Reading. Reading is a very sizable club in England. I believe that they have 3, maybe even 4 mixed teams who play in their respective national championships. There seems to be some confusion about what the gender is supposed to be. Again, 8-6 Reading. Manchots are up in this half. since Reading haven't even played a single point on offense. And there's still some discussion, as it looks like it was 4 men, and Reading had mixed up the gender. Obviously, we're using the ABBA gender rules. That's a good pull from Manchots. Reading trying to get some give-and-go action of their own going, and they use that front of the stack. Looks like Dominator. Good communication between the players. And you have Reading just going Hutchinson up. It looks like there's a free option downfield, but she decides not to take it. Hutchinson slips on the reset. Goes backfield, but the thrower doesn't like it and gives and goes onto the far side. Reading staring down the front of the end zone, and in a very small window, they managed to score that one. 9-6 for Reading, with a little spike to cap off the point. Manchots managing to generate some pressure, but it looks like they've been forcing backhand all game, and I'm sorry for the viewers, but I'm just going to keep repeating it. If you're not varying your defense, you're not really changing anything for the other team's offense. And so the only way that you can find something that they're uncomfortable with is by trying many different things. That's my defensive philosophy, is to try as many different looks as you can to probably not even play the same defense twice in a row, except when you find one thing that really starts working. Reading having a winning formula so far. They are very comfortable on offense, it looks like. And on defense, I think that they're finding the pressure that they would like to, despite their reduced roster. Petit Bon with the disc in the center. She throws it out for a small gainer from that horizontal stack. Got Lupisenek in the center with the disc. It looks like they're forcing middle. Reading, you can hear the calls from the sideline, yelling home and away. Manchots seem to be unbothered by this. It seems like the single direction force is causing more problems. Little scooper over the top. That's a nice throw to Elwan Keen. Here with the disc on the sideline, he's faking. Finds Petit Bon, and a near tee from Reading. Hill, once again with the disc. It looks like Reading are in backhand, but there's somebody who just slipped over to the open side. Manchots managed to hold once again. That is 9-7 for Reading. Reading defenders with their hands on their head thinking, how did we let that one get away? There were a couple of near Ds in the handler space. I think that Manchots managed to deal with it quite well, though. It seems like the sideline defense, the trap defense, the trap mark on the forehand sideline is causing them a lot more problems. Although, as I said, I think it's good to vary. I think that if you can, even if you are generating good pressure, if you're not generating a block, or if you're not managing to get any turns from your defense, it's always a good idea to switch something, see if the other team blinks. In that case, Manchots managed to pretty comfortably deal with the middle. They do seem to like that disc in the center of the field. I think if Reading can recalibrate and maybe force the disc closer to the sideline, they'll find a little bit more of the pressure that they're looking for. Manchots looking to find a formula that works for them, or at least trying to perfect their forced backhand. Hasn't worked yet. Great inside break from Reading to Colicchio. Lewis is in the backfield. Kalika with a high release, flip over the stack. And that is a bizarre throw. Pullet is up in the mix there, and he's the biggest one in there. He's going to get that disc. And he throws an immediate turnover, or what looks like it could have been either an amazing play or a turnover. A full field huck from Pullet. I like the decision. Unfortunately, the execution wasn't there. This receiver did have a lot of space. Maybe if he had been a little less ambitious, he would have been able to find something. Manchots back on defense, though. And a huge huck to Colicchio once again, but that one is going to be perfectly read. Redding come down with that. Just a few meters off that end zone line, a little dish back to the handler. A little looping back end over the back. Looks like that's Lewis with the reception and a head spike to finish the point. Redding living on the edge right there. But it seems like their deep shots are a little bit more calibrated. They're to spaces where the receivers can run onto them. Manchots not totally in sync, especially on those fast breaks. Their D-line has really struggled to find any sort of rhythm on offense. Part of that is credit to the Reading defense. They are playing some incredible shutdown defense, especially on the handlers. And when a team lives and dies by the handlers like Manchots, well, Reading is guaranteed to get the disc back if they can stagnate the reset space a bit. So 9-7 or 10-7 after that score, I should say. Reading are looking pretty comfortable, but I'm sure that they would love another break. A split stack from Manchots, trying to get some space around the handlers to run some dominator. Pelletier on the sideline. Back to Petitbon, although it looks like there is a pick or foul or something between Emmanuel Pouzet and his defender. Looks like Connor Hogan. Disc is going to stay in the center, though, according to Alex Greer. Petitbon taps it in. And that is definitely a pick. There's a lot of traffic in the center. Also in a somewhat vertical formation. Having trouble finding the reset. Petitbon manages to get one off. And a big fake. Kudel just fires one, and that... It looks like Perrine Leproux is not calling a foul. I think that that's a good no call. Kemp did actually dive on top of her, but I think that it was dropped before and that the contact had nothing to do with it. Hogan picking up for the 6-1 vertical stack. See what sort of play they decide to run out of it. Poach at the front. Smart poach from Petitbon to stagnate that cut and to sort of slow down Redding's movement. Marcus Kelsey, the 17-year-old, there's a big around. And that one is just off the hands, off the fingernails of the Reading receiver. Pouzet picks up, putting the disc into motion with Petitbon. Pelletier looking for something. I think it's the force middle again. It looks very similar to the previous point. Just a lack of concentration. Petitbon drops the disc, falls to her feet as Coudert was looking for the give and go with her. Hogan once again to pick up another break chance for Reading. Just a straight run, a little bit of over pursuit from Le Plou. Wilson with the disc, throws a nice around. That just sits perfectly for Bignell to run onto. And an amazing D from Coudert coming through. Coming through Kelsey. Petit Bon with the disc, winds up like she's looking for a backhand, but she finds something underneath. It's a one heel down the sideline to Coudert. Coudert brings it back to Petit Bon in the center. She's had a lot of touches in that center field. Sorry, Pelletier with a disc before that right there is Coudert, who has it right now. Coudert back to Petit Bon. Reading looks a little gassed. And Reading just looked tired on that. I think that the length of that point is a victory for the Reading D-line. Although they probably won't consider it one. Le Mans put in another point. That is 10-8 for Reading in the lead over Manchots. From other games that we've got going on, Deep Space have widened their lead against Disconnection. They're up 11-7. So it looks like they will be trying to vie for that top spot in Pool A, where Seski have slowly edged out Tartu Turbulence. They're up 10-9. And we have Leamington Lemmings also maintaining a narrow lead, 9-8 over Nulacht. Manchots still looking for a break. They've been managing to hold on offense, and that's what's been keeping them in this game, but they really need to find something, any sort of defense that will do it, and that will do it. If that's a drop, or maybe that's just good pressure defense from Le Mans. In any case, they've got the disc close to the end zone once again. Blady backhand for the reset to Bonita. Regis with the disc. Good little jink up the line. And a nice floater. That is a first break from Manchots. That brings us to 9-10. Reading still in the lead, but Manchots managing to claw back. Reading was again trying to get some energy, trying to get a cheer going. And one thing that we haven't talked about, I guess, is the name. Manchots obviously comes from the city, Le Mans, and it's a bit of a play on that. A Manchot in French is a penguin, which if you watch them on, or you see any of their games where you can get a close-up of their jerseys, they've got some penguins. I believe that this design is better than the old one, which was rather fanciful, you could say. Reading obviously coming from the city of Reading, west of London. But Manchots have managed to find a magical formula. Just through that forced backhand, and I guess putting energy and force of will into it, they managed to eke a turnover out of this. We'll see if Reading can stabilize on their offensive line. Hogan tries to bust deep, but there's an immediate swing over. That looks like Lewis with the disc. Manchots have stacked this line. They've put Petit Bon on, bringing over some of the offensive pieces. In Courdoisy, the defensive captain, you can see her close to the back of the stack, number 18. Bonita defending the front. And there was a pick or something called, which is taking a moment to resolve. You can see that Imogen Wong back in this game. She's up in the lane being defended by Julie Ménard. Big wind up. Hogan just catches a swing. Bonita on the mark. Wide mark. Hogan throws a little high release looper over the defense. It's Lewis with the disc. Petit Bon right in the pocket. It's a good grab. Redding on that sideline. And that is another defense from Manchots. I'm rather surprised because it looked like they were cruising for a moment, but as soon as they got onto the sideline, they found their own problems, just like Manchots have. Manchots swing back into the center and an immediate timeout. You can see captain and defensive coach in Courtoisie putting her hands on her hips, thinking, why did we call that? I was wide open. Well, the players are going to take a break. We're going to take a break here. If you have any questions or you want to support anybody in the audience, feel free to drop a comment, and we will be right back. Welcome back to Leuven, Belgium, where we continue with some second half action of the second round of the day in mixed. Manchots have just called a timeout after Redding carelessly threw away the disc. Manchots putting on some good defensive pressure. Manchots coming out in their horizontal rather than their 3-4 vert stack that they've been running before. Looks like we've got Julie Ménard and Petit Bon isolated in the lane. And an immediate huck thrown up to Courtoisie. But that's good defensive pressure from Redding. That throw did not look like it was the greatest decision. It was too high, too floaty. Courtoisie, if you want to give her an advantage, put it out to space. Looks like Lewis is isolated on the break side. Hogan hits him with a little flip inside. Lewis throwing a big backhand. And that looks like a perfect throw. But I'm wrong. And Redding is back on defense. Manchots have another chance to break. Currently in this half, they are 4-2. Redding has gone on a little bit of a cold streak. Everybody's slowly walking to the disc. Bonita calling out a play, most likely. But this point has been lasting quite a while. So everybody's tired. Bonita isolated in the lane with Hugo Herbin. And it looks like nobody is moving. The cutters are static, so there's a little reset. Bonita looking for something. Hugo manages to get the disc, Herbin, and he pivots into Colicchio. Colicchio says no contest on the foul. I was moving, I fouled you. Manchots far too static in the center of the field. That horizontal stack needs to be very mobile in the center, and the cutters were just staring at the thrower, looking for something to happen. Gets the disc down the line. Marine Benoit. Benoit with a little upline to Bonetta. Bonetta loves the jacket, and he puts one up. It's a big throw, but it is misread, and Hogan, or no, I'm sorry, that's Lewis, gets the better of that one. Again, this is Reading's 0 point. They really want to put this one in. They want to slow down, put the Penguins on ice, so to speak. Hogan slowly walking to the disc. Bringing it back up. That 6-1 formation with Colicchio isolated in the lane. He's going deep. And short gain. Little flip over, but that is some excellent defensive pressure. Elba managing to get a D or a drop on Lewis, and that is a quick turnaround for Manchots. We are tied at 10s. Manchots on a roll. 2 breaks. Manchots coming back into this game. Reading looking a little down, looking like they're unable to find the energy. Manchots definitely have that momentum right now. They have that initiative. Despite Reading having the advantage currently, they are up at break still. In the other fields, we've got Seski maintaining their lead against Tartu and extending it 13-10. Deep Space 12-9 over disconnection currently. And 11-11 Nulacht and Leamington. Some great games from around the complex here at Leuven. I'm not there. I am commentating from the comfort of my home here in Paris. It's a great fortune to be able to commentate against some of my national rivals in Manchots. Manchots with all the momentum right now. Big pull to Hogan, Hogan to Lewis. Lewis has been putting up some big throws. Nice around that he finds Hagen to Wilson. Wilson puts up a big looping backhand. That is arcing, and that is an excellent grab for Reading. Reading stabilized this ship. 11-10. What a grab from Reading. The receiver just had excellent position. He managed to high point that disc perfectly. So Manchots' backhand not working on that point. Obviously managing to find some chinks in the armor before. Reading themselves haven't varied much on defense, but it doesn't seem like they've had to. Their D-line has been pretty comfortable just forcing one way or the other, occasionally moving to that force middle. We see a rather large pull coming out. Centered up Good movement in the center, but Petit Bon again is stagnating in that center of that horizontal stack. That middle needs to be very mobile for it to work. Manchots are very focused on their handler movement, so a lot of times their cutters get forgotten. Petit Bon with the disc, though. Looks like Reading have gone back to the forced middle. Probably an interesting decision, but I think that I agree, considering that Manchots have mostly played a rather static center. Some give-and-goes between Petit Bon and her teammate. Petit Bon with a nice break around. Quentin Paltier. And that is a goal. 11-11. Make a wish. Now that we out here, I'm hoping for a universe point game. I would like to see Manchots bring this close. Keep it here with Reading and use some of the momentum that they've created. They are going punch for punch with one of the best teams in Europe, and I think that that's not a mistake. Speaking of blow for blow, looks like Nulocht and Leamington are still notched up at 11s. Got Seski 14-10 over Tartu currently, and Deep Space 14-9 over Disconnection, a much wider advantage than they had before. So Manchots playing some great teams, very close. Despite that loss to Lemmings earlier today, they're not letting it get them down. They are playing very strong against Reading. Reading tried to run a diamond play, but it doesn't work. Now there's some traffic in the center. Pot pushing off into the center and recovering. A near D from Régis Bonnetin, but a big throw goes up from the Reading handler down the sideline, and that is touched, but it is not in. Reading struggling in this late middle game. It looks like it was an attempted greatest, or at least the receiver got a touch on it after jumping from inbounds, because the disc would appear to be going in very far up the field. Manchots trying to get the disc off that sideline. There's a floaty disc going in. Wilson very wisely did not bid on that. Manchots getting some quick passes down the sideline. Now they find a big cut in. Hill gets the disc. Looks like there was a receiver running free, but that I think is well defended. It's a good thing to not put that up. Pot back in the center of the field. Moves that disc around. Pot back again from Elbin. Pot breaks around once again to Bonnetin. Bonnetin with a blady forehand to the back corner. And that is a goal. That is another break. 12-11 for Manchots. What a shot from Régis Bonnetin. I couldn't see the receiver on that, but I think it might have been Hélène Courtoisie, the defensive captain. Reading are looking a little shocked, not really knowing what to do. Their body language is a little down. I think after being up 8-5 during half, they thought maybe not that the game was going to take care of itself, but that it was going to be a little bit easier and they wouldn't be struggling as much as they are. From my point of view, it seems like they are almost buying into Manchots' game. It seems like they're trying to play a little bit too fast and they're taking some shots that they don't need to, where they actually have plenty of open spaces. Just trying to force some things that are unnecessary. But again, this is more of a development tournament for them. They're less focused on the place result that they get at this tournament, and more on gelling with each other and building that chemistry for later in the season. They've got a long-term vision of this. Touches some throws around. Looks like there's going to be a pick in the stack. But Reading are very focused on building for the rest of the season. I'm assuming that they are aiming at becoming champs again, despite some of the hits that they've taken in their roster. They are, again, one of the most consistent, high-placing teams in the European circuit. Tight throw, tight window. Courtoisie on the mark from Imogen Wong. Hutchison throws a nice forehand, this nice smooth forehand into the end zone. 12-12. Manchots will have the advantage. They did start this game on offense, so they are currently in the driver's seat, in the winning position if no more breaks are scored for the rest of this game. Although that would surprise me. I think both of these teams have risen to the occasion and have shown that they're capable of scoring on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. Just to finish up from around the other division, if you're joining us from that Siski game, Siski did win 15-11 over Tartu. Deep Space up 14-10 over Disconnection. And Newlocked versus Leamington. All notched up at 12s, just like we have on our field right here. Manchots getting a nice little dish off and using that horizontal stack for some big gains. This is maybe some of the best cutting that we've seen from them. Very reliant on that handler movement. Big swing around. And that's a good save from Onsan Coudel. Coudel throws a tight one back into the center to Pouzet. Petit Bon again with the disc. She has put her mark on this game. She has touched a lot of discs this entire time. Throws it over to the sideline, gets it back immediately. Manchots not afraid to go backwards. Coudel, that big backhand fake. Manchots finally expanding. Gavillier with the disc to Petit Bon, looking for the short dish, doesn't get it. Petit Bon throws to the front of the stack, and that's a goal. Manchots 13-12. Currently outscoring Reading 8-4 in this half. A lot more efficient on offense than they were in their game against Leamington. It looks like they've taken some of the lessons from that game and managed to apply them in this one. And to finish out this game, Deep Space have finished 15-10 against Disconnection. They have closed it out. So it looks like tomorrow's game, the one that I will be commentating in the morning, the first round of mixed between Deep Space and Siski, will be the determining one for the pool. But Reading are back here on offense. Hutchison with the disc, and that's just a miscommunication with Lewis. Manchots looking to take a 2-point lead. Bonnetin with the disc in the center, looking to dish backwards. Guillon throws a tight forehand, and that is an excellent grab from Manchots. But again, they're pinned on that sideline. Can they punch it in? Guillon throws another looping forehand to the back corner, and that's Manchots again for another break. 14-12. Reading are looking tired. They are looking like they are out of solutions, and they are not sure what they're going to do in the face of this. I think Manchots have really found something that's working for them. The big plays are all coming up for them. I think from a coaching perspective, I would like to call a timeout right here if I was Reading. We'll see if they do that. For the moment being, it looks like they're just huddling on the sideline. Coach is going to call the line. Again, win or lose, everybody's going to make the bracket, but some of these are... all of these games are important for the European rankings. The new ranking system that we are using... should check out the video by Ravi Vasudevan if you haven't, explaining how it works. But basically, all of these games are going to be calculated, especially these stronger teams. Reading, this is their first tournament of the season. Manchots currently ranked, I believe, 8th or 9th off of the one game that they have against Seski at French Nationals. But this is going to be a very big bonus for them if they can come out on top. So every point matters in this game. If Reading, even if Reading lose this game on Universe, that would be better than if they lost by 3. It does look like a more defensively oriented line for Reading. Especially with that 6-1 vert stack. Bonnetin defending Hogan. They have Korea. They have a lot of their defensive personnel out there. You can see Kemp at the back of the stack. She has been doing that all day long. An excellent break around from Nicole Lester. Pick in the stack. It's called, though. Reading looking a little bit messy. But they have Kemp on the far side. We'll see if she can get some damage done with her legs again. That's a high looping forehand. Hogan with the disc. A big inside-out backhand. And that's an excellent break for Reading. Hogan finding Greer on the inside. All right, 14-13. This is the game that we wanted. If Reading can break, then we can take it. Then they'll take it to Universe. If Manchots hold, then they will be narrowing Reading's chance of taking top in the pool. Currently looks like Lemmings are leading Nulux by 1 point, 13-12. And Deep Space and Seski have both closed out their games. Deep Space won that one against Disconnection. So again, that game will be the determiner, the one tomorrow morning in the first round of mixed. Reading looking to find some energy again. They can get some energy under them. They can force a turn. They will be not only helping their chances in the rankings, but they'll be able to fight for, hopefully, what the final spot, which will get them immediate access to EUCF here at the Elite Invite. Petit Bon with the disc. Looks like Colicchio is being called on the foul. I believe that's Couder again. Colicchio being matched up with him once again. This is a crucial point for both teams, obviously. Manchots with their first game point on the line. Pelletier with the disc on the sideline. Throws it down to Gavillier. The Swiss centering to Petitbon. She has touched a lot of discs. Throws it back to Gavillier. Ophélie Gavillier. And that is a missed throw. The receiver wasn't ready. I believe that was Pouzy. Redding with the disc. A near D. Oh, that is a D. And that's the game. Manchots have taken down Reading. What an upset. Current bronze medalists, or reigning bronze medalists, taken down by the 4th place team. Congratulations to Manchots. Commiserations to Reading. I'm sure that they will bounce back. They are getting some of their personnel back tomorrow. And I'm sure that they will be able to regroup. Both teams at 1-1, so that pool is anybody's guess as to who is going to take it. Lemmings might actually have note that game. Leamington Lemmings versus Nulux is still going. I highly encourage you to go and check that out on one of our other streams. My name is Francis Dieterle. It has been a pleasure to join you guys on this stream, and I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you tomorrow for the decisive game in this pool, which will be Seski Distus versus Deep Space. Have a great day and enjoy the rest of our coverage.